Okay, so what are we doing today? We are going to do the dreaded 10 squares. Why is it dreaded? Because it can be difficult. So what I'm going to do is, and you don't have to necessarily have 10 squares, it's however many squares you get. And so we're trying to do a value range. So I'm going to divide these up into 10, or ish. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, I am good. Okay, so now what you want to do is, what you're trying to do is have a value range going from light to dark in each one of these squares. Each one of the squares need to be different. And so I always find it easiest to know what my darkest dark is going to do. So, and I'm going to start out cross-hatching. Why are we doing cross-hatching? I am glad you asked. I'm not going to smear here. Cross-hatching is going to force you to be more careful. If I were to smear here, I just smear, and I'm trying to develop a sensitivity to the value. And so the best way to do that is cross-hatching. Is trying to get my hand to be sensitive to the values. Okay, so now I look at that and I go, okay, that's pretty dark. I could probably get maybe a little darker, but I want some of the paper showing through. It kind of helps to add a little depth to the drawing when you're doing that. And so, and cross-hatching helps that. If I smear that, everything becomes flat. And I don't want it flat, I want it to have some depth to it. Okay, so now I make the next one a little bit lighter. How do I tell if it's lighter? One method artists use is they squint. Squinting kind of diffuses things, and so if you squint at that, you can tell that that is lighter, right? Yep, looks lighter. I'm thinking that looks pretty good. Okay, then I'm just going to continue all the way down, and I want each one to get a little bit lighter as I go here. Now I may have to go back and adjust some of these as I go. That's okay. Okay, is that a little bit lighter? I think so, just barely. Now what you can do is you can have some of these lines farther apart. Is that lighter? Ooh, squinting. Yeah, maybe we can make this one a little darker. Does that help? Mm-hmm. Yep, I think that's getting it. Okay, so this one becomes lighter. Now, the other thing you have to do is you have to control your charcoal. Charcoal is a really nice thing because you can get a really huge range of value with charcoal. If I were to use pencil, I would only be able to do about this much range. Well, actually, it's lighter. Pencil's about from here to here. With charcoal, I can go from here to here with value range. The more value you have in your drawing, the more interesting it's going to be. Now I have to be careful. Is that lighter? Yep, I think so. Okay. I sit back and I squint. Okay. Now, what I have to do now is I'm going to take, and I'm pressing not as hard. I'm just tickling the paper. Here I was pressing pretty hard. You saw how hard I was pressing here. Here, I am just tickling the paper. Much lighter. So the marks are lighter in value. I'm still able to do cross-hatching. Is that right? Yep. It goes from dark, lighter, 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 lighter. Now, look, I still have long ways to go here. So here, I need to be very light with how hard I press. You can barely probably just see that. Ooh, is that lighter? Yep, it's working. And then sometimes you can just go one way with your crosshatch. You don't have to crosshatch. But I'm just barely tickling the paper. Wow, it is getting much lighter. Now this is almost the same as that. I'm not happy with that. So I'm gonna go back to this one. Maybe make this one a little bit darker. just ever so slightly. It's getting there. And the more you play with this, the better you get. So it's just a matter of practice. This is always great practice. This one is just going to be very light, hardly any lines. Just very, 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 very light, hardly anything. So hopefully you can see now that we're going from light to dark, getting value range. Value is huge in drawing. You have to have the value to create a feeling of depth and dimension in the drawing once you get to it. So I hope you had fun doing the dreaded 10 squares. Whoops, no, look at that. I just got that one too dark. Okay, that means I have to make all these a little bit darker now. And I could spend a half hour on this getting it perfect, but the idea, I just want you to have the idea of value. You have to have value. It's just having that variety, getting darker, and then darkest as you go back. So you just kind of work all those values.